Duchess, Glass Eyes Never Blink by M.R. Ray. Chapter 6. Sunday morning came slowly. The house was still thick with the silence left over from the night before. Willy was sitting in living room on his recliner. He turned on the news, then muted it. Headlines scrolled. He didn't read them. He found a magazine on the coffee table, flipped through it without seeing a word. The pages caught on each other. He gave up halfway through and tossed it onto the floor, where it landed next to Buster. The dog didn't move. He checked his phone. No new messages. He checked again, then scrolled through old texts, looking for a reason to reply. There wasn't one. From the kitchen he heard Wanda's voice, clipped and flat, then silence as she finished her call. With her eyes on her phone, she walked past him and sat at the couch's far end. She was wearing sweats and a t-shirt that showed off her flat belly and just the top hint of her lumbar tattoo. She curled into the armrest, tapping out a text with both thumbs. Willy watched her in the reflection of the TV. He wanted to apologize for his antics the night before. Instead, he said,
"Want breakfast? I can make eggs."
Wanda didn't look up. He let the offer die. He stood, stretched, and walked to the kitchen. The tile was cold. He poured himself a glass of orange juice, drank it in one go, and rinsed the glass before stacking it with the others. He headed back to the living room. Wanda was still texting. Buster hadn't moved, but his eyes were open now, watching the mantel. The cat was there, of course. The gold rings on the collar glinted in the morning sun. Willy stared at it, daring it to move. It didn't. Wanda stood in a single fluid movement, her phone clamped in her fist.
"I'm taking a shower,"
she said, not quite aimed at him, and walked off. Willy waited for the bedroom door to shut before exhaling. She emerged half an hour later wearing a sunflower yellow sundress patterned with small white daisies, the thin straps slipping against her bare shoulders. The skirt brushed mid-thigh, light enough to sway with each step, and the cut made it clear she wasn't wearing a bra or anything else. Her hair was freshly brushed, with a faint trace of perfume drifting ahead of her. Wanda cleared her throat, then said,
"I'm going shopping."
He nodded. She grabbed her purse from the table, slung it over her shoulder, and walked to the door. Her keys rattled as she plucked them from the bowl. The keys slipped from her hand and clinked onto the floor. She bent at the waist, the yellow sundress lifted just enough to reveal the smooth curve of her thigh and a whisper of bare skin beneath. She retrieved the keys with a slow, unhurried grace, glancing back over her shoulder. Her faint smirk was almost playful, hinting at a secret she wasn't about to share. The front door closed with a sound that felt final. Willy listened for her car to start. It did, but lingered at the curb before rolling away. The silence returned. He sat back in the recliner. Buster hopped up in his lap. Hours passed like that. TV, phone, kitchen, recliner. By evening, he was hungry again. He microwaved a frozen dinner and ate it with a plastic fork. The food tasted like cardboard, but he finished it all. He tossed the tray into the trash, then wiped his mouth with a napkin. At 9 p.m., headlights swept across the window. Wanda's car. He stood, braced himself, and listened for the door. It opened. She came in, bags on each arm. Without meeting his gaze, she went down the hall to the bedroom. The door shut with a soft, padded click. Willy waited a minute, then two, before following. The bedroom door was closed. Inside, he could hear her moving, the rustle of bags and the faint beep of her phone. He wanted to knock, but didn't. He stepped toward the living room, finding Buster already there. The dog's gaze was directed at the cat. A low growl rumbled deep in his chest. Willy looked at the mantel. The cat sat in the same spot, but now the grin on its face stretched, glass eyes catching what little light was left.
"She had him twice. You're a fool."
He turned off the lamp, sat back on his recliner, and stared into the dark. He didn't sleep, but it didn't matter. The next morning, the kitchen felt colder than before. Willy shuffled in, squinting at the glare from the window. He made toast, then poured coffee, and ate standing at the counter. The only sounds were the scrape of the knife on the plate, the drip of the coffee machine, and the clock's steady beat. He finished in 5 minutes, rinsed the plate, and left it upside down in the rack. He checked his reflection in the microwave door. The face staring back was doughy, sallow, and unshaven. He went to the bedroom, but the door was still closed. Inside, he didn't hear a thing while listening. He decided it was better not to disturb her. Instead, he used the guest bathroom to get ready for work. He always kept spare clothes in the second bedroom to make room for Wanda's things in the master suite. He was walking towards the front door when he stopped. The urge was sudden and made no sense. He walked up to the fireplace. The cat was on the mantel, as always. Its face caught the early sun, glass eyes lit from within. Willy stood in front of it. His nose nearly touched the cat as he stepped closer. He stared into the eyes, looking for the trick, something that would give it away as fake. He saw only his own reflection, warped by the curve of the glass.
I know you're alive.
He whispered. The cat didn't move, but the smile on its face seemed deeper, as if it had waited for him to say the words. He swallowed and then repeated it, louder.
I know you're alive. What do you want?
For a second, he thought the cat blinked. The gold rings on the collar moved a bit.
Jesus, Willy, you're going to be late.
Wanda's voice came from behind, sharp as a slap. He spun. She stood at the edge of the living room, wearing the same shirt as yesterday. She didn't bother with makeup. Her arms were hanging at her side. Willy cleared his throat.
I was just...
You were talking to the stuffed cat?
She said.
You're freaking me out.
He tried to smile, but it didn't work.
just messing around.
She rolled her eyes, then looked at the clock.
Go to work.
He nodded and then turned toward the door. As he left, he looked back over his shoulder. The cat watched him go, mouth fixed in that perfect curve. Later, around 10 a.m., Willy walked into an empty break room. He filled his mug with burned coffee from the pot, then stared at the slow drip, waiting for it to fill. The overhead lights made everything bright. The linoleum floor reflected the glare back at him, and the hum from the vending machine vibrated in his teeth. He stood at the counter, facing the window. Out in the hall, someone laughed, then a door closed. He heard the tap of shoes against linoleum, then the swish of the break room door. He didn't turn. Willy overheard two voices that sounded familiar. He thought it was Doug from Audit and the girl from Payroll. It sounded like they were just outside the door to the break room. Their words were hushed and low. Willy stayed where he was, listening.
Did you see the way she looked at him?
Please, she was all over him. I mean, I'm not judging, but at her own party, with her husband, I mean, he was right there.
In a lower voice.
I couldn't believe it when I saw her leading that tall guy into the guest bathroom.
The voice giggled, then whispered.
She was unbuckling his pants before the door even shut.
They both laughed, the sound sharp and ugly in the small room. Willy's hand shook. Coffee sloshed over the rim, burning his fingers. He set the cup down too hard, and it clattered against the countertop. The laughter stopped. He heard a sharp intake of breath. Doug peeked around the doorframe.
Hey, Willy, didn't see you there.
The girl from Audit grabbed a yogurt from the refrigerator and walked out of the room. Doug lingered, studying the snack machine.
Rough Monday, huh?
He didn't meet Willy's eyes. Willy stared at the spill on the counter.
Yeah, I guess.
He said. His voice was flat, unfamiliar. He wiped up the coffee with a paper towel, then tossed it in the trash. Doug made for the door, then paused.
Hey, man, you okay?
Willy didn't answer. He poured another cup and then stood, staring out the window. Doug left. The voice crept into his head.
They know what you are, a pathetic cuckold.
He would talk to Wanda tonight. He would make her answer. Willy drove home with both hands on the wheel, knuckles pale. He replayed the break room voices, the words about Wanda and the man in the bathroom. He rehearsed his own lines, what he'd say when he saw her. What did you do? Why did you do it? What does he have that I don't? By the time he turned onto his street, the script was worn thin. He parked in the driveway, shut off the engine, and sat for a minute. The porch light was off. The blinds in the sitting room were half closed, the house's windows blank. He waited for Buster's bark. There was nothing. He got out, slammed the car door, and listened. Still nothing. The silence was deafening. He walked to the front door, unlocked it, and stepped inside. The house was cold.
Hello?
He called. No answer. He dropped his briefcase by the door and walked through the house. Wanda's shoes were by the couch. Her coat was tossed on a chair. The TV was off. He called for Buster, voice thin.
Here, boy.
He checked the bedroom. Bed made, covers flat. He checked the bathroom. Empty. His voice rose with each call, getting sharper as he checked every room. He opened the sliding door to the backyard. He saw the dog. Buster lay on his side, legs stretched, head turned to the house. His tongue poked out between his teeth, and his eyes were open but dull. Willy's throat closed. He rushed over and dropped to his knees, pressing his hands to the dog's ribcage. The body was cold, the fur soft, but Buster didn't move. Willy searched for a pulse, for any sign of breath, but there was nothing. He said the dog's name over and over, his voice breaking each time. He didn't hear Wanda until she was right beside him.
What happened?
She yelled. She kneeled, grabbed Buster's head, and pulled it into her lap. Her hands shook. Tears rolled down her face, dark streaks under each eye.
He was fine this morning.
She said, voice cracking.
He was fine.
Willy stared at her, at the way she rocked the dog, at the way she stroked his ears. He wanted to touch her, to say something, but he couldn't. Wanda pressed her face against Buster's neck and sobbed. Willy looked away, up at the house. Through the window he saw the cat. Its glass eyes caught the last of the sun, making them glow. The mouth curved into a perfect small smile. Willy knew then with a certainty that cut straight through the bone. He knew what had killed Buster.